in a row. What?
Yeah, I like that. I like that team name better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Because they're rock
Jin Air
solid
Mountains.
like Malphite.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly what's happening here. 2019 LCK Summer Promotion Rematch. Round 2, Jin Air 2-0 win. Final round 3-1. Jin Air win, so 5-1 last time around. Remember, this is the rematch. Team Dynamics rebranded, but they are ES Sharks from previously. Huge desire from promotion. Dynamic added Boy and Goon to their roster for the promotion match. As we're taking a look at the key player comparison, Ganknam, 8 wins and 2 losses on Jarvan. So we'll have to see how that fares as Malrong 2-2 on the Skarner. Kill participation first. Malrong is someone that I know I personally talked about a lot as being a pretty big coin-flipping jungler. He's definitely the gambler. You could nickname him the Casino. That would be an acceptable nickname for him in the LCK. As he likes to get aggressive, he likes to try to force things and get leads that way. Definitely doesn't play like almost any of the other LCK junglers.
Yeah. He plays like a solo queue-esque style where he takes some risks that could get him very far behind in competitive play, but in a solo queue environment, he can get away with it because a couple of kills can just totally topple a game over. And we'll see. I mean, the fact that he has first place in kill participation in all of the LCK junglers, that's impressive. I mean, that's a great stat for Malrong to list and be like, yeah, I participate the most.
He may die while trying to participate, but can't take that away from him, all right? You can save the Chovy 100 KDA. Let's talk about a real stat right here.
Maybe it's because Jin Air had so few kills that it was easier for him to get a higher percentage.
Absolute disrespect in your voice and language right now.
Sorry.
Well,
Team Dynamics.
Yep.
They have a lot of smiles on their faces, and they have a cheering squad. I'm not joking. They have a group of people. They all have blue. What do you call those things? The sticks that you smack together.
Thunderclap or thingy.
Thunder sticks. Yeah.
Thunder sticks. See, that's the caster center.
And they're all wearing blue and white.
Blue Dava.
Yeah.
Do you know the song? Blue Dabadita?
No, never heard of it.
You've never heard of it?
No.
Yeah,
I only know Gangnam Style.
All right.
Road to LCK. We'll see.
Well, what is a road to the to an airline? You know.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You see?
No, they're the Jin Air Mountains now.
Oh, they've been grounded.
Yes, and it's gonna be a rocky road. Don't get me wrong, but Team Dynamics will reach the climax eventually and make it to the LCK.
All right.
That's my prediction. I think they're actually gonna make it.
Well, I was just talking to the staff of Team Dynamics just outside the entrance to the stadium here, and they seemed extremely confident in today's match. So we'll see what ends up happening here. As Jin Air, the big key point for me is going to be how does Light and Guger actually stand up to Root and Kellen, who, yes, this is Jin Air, yes, they didn't win a game in LCK, but they do have, I would say, probably top 4 bot lane in laning phase.
Yeah.
In the LCK. So it's where a lot of their power comes from, and if Root and Kellen get going, it might just be too much of an advantage for Team Dynamics to try to stabilize and fend off. So definitely pay attention to that. Don't just look at the Jin Air stats and be like, well, they're 0-18. Can they really have any star players? Well, they have a star bot lane.
Yeah, especially Root. The guy's got some pretty sick mechanics. We always talk about Jin Air, the Jin Air Mountains 80 carries. Well, Root is another one of them that feels stuck. And we'll see what happens to him. But first, he's got to get through this promotion tournament with his current roster, as Rise going to be the first ban here.
Well, Renekton now going to follow suit. We'll see what ends up happening next. As Malrong seems to be communicating something.
Rise is a very weird ban between...
Well, Jisoo, interestingly enough, I used to run into him a lot in solo queue in Season 6 and 7, I believe. He was actually one of the OG top Rise players, along with Kong.
Okay.
So Rise, even though he's going through some reiterations, he was known as a two-trick Irelia Rise player. Not the remade Irelia, but the old one. And so Rise is a pretty special champion to him. So I'm assuming that that is what that has to do with.
Yeah, I was looking at his stats, and he only had one game of Rise, but maybe that's just because they ban Rise against this team all the time. It definitely could be the case, where he just doesn't get a chance to play his champ. Silas and Akali will be joining the table there. The Aatrox that was banned all 3 games of the first series is available, but will they go for it as they number Xayah?
Now remember, Lucian is another power laner that they could pull out, so it doesn't have to be the Xayah Rakan, but that's the exact kind of theme I would expect out of Jin Air. As now, option handed over to Team Dynamics. Will they try to take away the Rakan? And Xayah is such a nice champion. She can fit into so many modes of gameplay. Has a lot of gears available to her. There are some other champions that can do that as well, but she is quite flexible against the current meta.
Yeah, there was 180 carry in LCK before everybody else. I think it was Ruler, who would just straight up pick Xayah. You know, like, it didn't have to be Xayah Rakan. It would always just be, yeah, this is, you know, I just like this champion alone.
Red side Aatrox now going to be picked up, along with Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa, one of the more traditional ADCs that can answer Xayah in the later stages. This is something I've talked about for a long time. Kindred is an answer to Aatrox. The way that he wants to conduct himself inside of a team fight. Very, very good at answering that and slowing him down. But doesn't look like it's actually going to be the case as there's an Olaf.
Olaf.
Take over, Valdez. Olaf.
Get it?
I see what you did there. And the really funny thing is that you know that the enemy jungler has played 10 games of Jarvan and he's 8-2, and Jarvan hard counters Olaf, so it's really neat how that works out. I just got done tweeting about teams and drafting.
Team drafting, yeah.
I love it so much.
You know what every team needs is an LS.
Is that what's going on?
Yeah.
Oh, what is that? Leak script?
Literal savant. What? Of course.
Likely
It's
secret.
not easy to mess that up, you know.
All right.
And, you know.
Gangplank now banned away. Would actually be a really good pick for Jin Air here on the blue side, so I do like that Team Dynamics have recognized that and banned that away. And so now, all that Team Dynamics really have to do is recalibrate their draft a little bit, and they end up playing a 5 versus 4 due to the Olaf. Nautilus now going to bite the dust, so it looks like they want to just focus down Rakan answers.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's good with the Kai'Sa. I think that would be a very solid 4th pick for Team Dynamics if it were available. But it's not, because it got banned. Karma also going to be taken off the table.
They don't want to run the risk of going up against the Karma Olaf. And obviously Karma able to also beat the Aatrox as well as just go into the mid lane and be a neutralizing champion. And so yeah, yet another Rakan support banned away. And
wow,
now
okay.
Lux.
That was fast.
So that's able to be potentially flexed mid and support. So we'll have to see where she ends up going. It's very surprising that Team Dynamics doesn't just pick the support right there. But now they can create this awkward atmosphere where Jin Air, they don't want to choose a mid laner that's susceptible to Lux. But they also don't want to pick one that can potentially just walk into a hard counter, and they're running the gambit right now, or they're gambling right now that the Lux is indeed mid lane. As they are picking that LeBlanc for Grace. now they need a top lane champion against the Aatrox. And it's going to be Kennen, it seems.
Yeah, not a bad choice. Kennen will be taken here, as the Lux was played 3 times by Googer in Challenger Series. Oh no, not this.
You know, I really gotta, if that Lissandra is locked in, I really gotta hand it to Team Dynamics though. What?
Oh.
Why would you? Well, Zoe's interesting. At the pro level, a lot of people consider LeBlanc a Zoe counter. If you're really, really good at Zoe, it's not the case. So it's one of those skill matchups where LeBlanc doesn't necessarily counter the Zoe. The Zoe is really bizarre because you could have chose the Lissandra, even though she has been nerfed historically. She's not as powerful as she was in spring. Lissandra would have been really good. The Zoe's a lot more volatile. They have a Kennen, they have an Olaf. There's a lot of ways to dog the Zoe down inside of a team fight, and so that's why I'm really surprised that the Lissandra wasn't picked up there, because it ends up doing absolutely everything that Zoe would do in this team composition anyway, but then have the added safety. So, in addition to that, it would even have a more obnoxious laning phase against the LeBlanc. Zoe obviously scales really well into the later stages, but because of the Olaf in the way that the Kennen and friends will take a team fight, Zoe bubbles aren't something that you're going to be firing off like machine guns by any means. So, Jin Air, they come out just like Hanwha Life did, with a very aggressive team composition that originally started off with really good scaling potential, and they walked right into Team Dynamics, who have the Aatrox, the J4, the Zoe, Kai'Sa, and then right at the very end there, the Lux. There's just so much more scaling on this team comp. It is really insane.
Yeah, it's a nice one, actually. It's refreshing to watch as well. We get Zoe back here. We're going to jump into game number 1 right now. Dynamics with their cheering squad coming down with the blue thunder sticks and the shirts and the hats and everything. Looked like they're at a baseball game. And Jin Air with their rabid fans as well, coming down and cheering their heads off for their team that they want to see stay in the LCK.
Well, some pings going on here, as both mid laners will have Electrocute. It's going to be the Ignite for the LeBlanc. And what I'm expecting here is Malrong to do traditional Malrong things and look for early kinds of ganks, early lane manipulation that can favor his laners. So we'll have to see if that's still going to be the case. But maybe he tries to level his opponents. Maybe he knows that his opponents know that that's what he would normally do. And so he just full clears.
Oh, I like that.
Unless he knows that Kanknom knows that he knows that they know that he knows that.
Yeah.
And then he just goes for the gank anyway. That's how leveling works.
The next level, next level, next level?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see what it is. It's going to be a Raptor start into red. And then he should acknowledge that super early on, you can't really kill any lane except for the Zoe or the bot lane. Realistically can't make your way up to the Aatrox, so should just go down to the golems, and it does look like he's doing that.
He's going for the full clear.
Now, I don't know what Jarvan's doing. Jarvan's doing one of those really bizarre paths where you do the red into the blue, and now it looks like he's looking for Olaf, so we originally said that Malrong was the casino, but in this instance, Kanknom looking for something, not finding anything, and now he's wasted a massive amount of his red buff duration, and now he's going to clear up into his golems, but he's really behind on tempo compared to that of Malrong, who already has the Raptors and the golems both set up to rubber band. It's really good for him.
Yeah, especially on Olaf, who loves those camps. And I mean, his name is the Gank Nom, right? He's going to go for ganks, right?
He looked for Malrong to get aggressive. That's actually what it looked like he was anticipating, but Malrong with the full clear. come full circle.
It's real.
The leveling game.
Yeah. And you called it, the literal savant that you are. Like,
thank you.
It all makes sense. Everything's coming together for us. Now, you talked about not looking at stats. The Jarvan and the Zaya, 1 and 6 on the side of Jin Air, but
You said that. Oh well, no, that wouldn't include best of ones. Never mind. I was about to say that Aatrox has 3 losses. Does that mean that they lost every time they picked Aatrox? You know what I mean?
yeah.
So. That would not necessarily be the case, as Jisoo up here in top lane, not doing so bad. He's down a little bit in the CS department. Enderong trying to get any edge that he possibly can.
Picked up the Klepto. Of course, going to be stacking the gold up here. Already has gotten a couple of extra potions.
Well, here's the thing, though. Olaf's full cleared, and now would come the time to try to be a little bit creative. You see the rubber band camp, the rafters are up. Ganknom, though, he's really behind in terms of respawn on his camps. Marong looking to get a little frisky.
This could be good timing. The chain's going to come down, but they still have the damage. One more axe is going to do it. Didn't even need it. First blood as Goong, way out of position, is going to be punished.
And so what's happening here is we saw Goong, he was playing mid-centric inside of the lane rather than left-centric. So they can't even try to abuse Fog of War play, and maybe Goong tries to flash into the brush, feigning that Jarvan is present, in which case maybe Grace and Malrong back off, even though they had the left side Scuttle Crab. They could maybe anticipate that Jarvan's coming down from golems or something like that. But unfortunately not able to crash the wave fast enough, and LeBlanc picks up a kill. That's the most important champion in their team composition to really get going, because she can take over against all the champions on the side of Dynamics if she gets fed enough.
Yeah, I mean, she's going to have a fun game from here on out with that first kill going her way. It's first blood as well, so you get the extra 100 gold. And we take a look at some of the other lanes. The cannon in the top side, I do love into this Aatrox, because you just abuse the Aatrox and you get so much money, and you're just kind of laughing at him the whole time. That's what the cannon is for. And Goong is able to take a nice trade, at least, in this one after landing the bubble. But we talked about the Olaf also having the tempo advantage. The bottom lane is actually in favor of Light and Googer slightly here with the CS, so props to them for doing well in this lane.
We're doing quite well. Definitely not something I would have been expecting.
Gonna land the chains again, and that's gonna be another kill, but Ganknom is at least able to get there. Has to flash over. Malrong's going for it with the TPs coming in. Gonna pick up the double kill. And now with the cannon follow TP, there's nothing that Jisoo can do.
That teleport from Jisoo just made no sense whatsoever. He shouldn't realistically ever be able to kill Marong before Linderong would be allowed to respond. So, really close. They did manage to kill Grace. There is a world where Grace can live in that whole debacle. But Jin Air, they're getting the advantages in the lane that's the most important right now. So even though Light and Googer are showing up big and surprisingly doing very well against Root and Kellen, they are bleeding so bad in mid. And we just see Goong, he's trying to crash this wave, but look at the cannon, by the way. We already know that Goong dies. The cannon got locked up against the melee minions. What this means is that if Goong tries to recall without teleport, he's going to lose several hundred gold and XP. He needs to crash that wave, and he couldn't, which means that 30 seconds prior to that, there was some really poor lane management leading up to that, if that was going to be the point where he's so far away from his jungler through. So, and now in this replay, there was a world where Grace could live there too, but Goong is really botching mid lane control. He keeps pushing the wave into the LeBlanc, but the paddle stars and everything just seem really arbitrary. Not a lot of thought behind it, it seems.
Yeah, kind of just getting in there, trying to clear the waves. And not much else as we're fighting over vision control in the jungle, as the mid laners are going to come on in here. But take a look at Grace. He's looking for that jungler. And now he's going to find Goong. At the end of it, they have a lot of damage. One more axe as Marong finished Warriors already and is able to pick up another kill. This is looking very one-sided from the mid and the jungle of Jin Air.
They're running they're putting on a clinic in mid lane. As now they're turning their attention down to the bottom lane. And even if they don't find a gank right here, it still relieves a lot of, that hit. Yeah. just the tip.
Yeah. Just a bit. You know.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's all you need.
Yeah.
To make it work. Just like in the bot lane. And yeah, I mean Linderong's been doing that up here as well to Dusu. It hasn't been the most fun lane for him. As we'll take another look at the Zoe dying again.
You can see Goong trying to come in here, but again, you have to wonder what he's thinking, because you don't need to see what's in the Fog of War to know what's likely there, or what could be there, and thus you should be playing around it as such, but he ends up getting clapped. Brute and Kellen.
Oh boy, making it work in the bottom side. The flash already out of light. And it is going to work, as he does get away from that one. The Featherstorm coming out thought maybe he was just barely in range to pull him back and have it do enough damage, but it was not. Still a good trade for them.
Goong is down half a level right now, just pinged 8 as LeBlanc's halfway through. Marong making his way up to top lane. Jisoo, what beautiful Chilling Smite timing.
Yeah, I mean, Marong is just on a rampage in this game. Sometimes, you know, in the LCK, the paths that he takes, they look foolish, they look risky. But here against a challenger level team, he's just rolling his face. And we begin to realize, you know, why he does play the way he does. And it works out sometimes, especially when you're able to get this far ahead on an Olaf.
Yeah, well, we got to give credit to him as well. He won the leveling game, like we talked about. He was known as being a gambler early on, and we saw that Kingdom was looking for him at level 2, didn't find him. Marong had actually full cleared, and then capitalized on the abysmal lane management of Goong in the mid lane at that level 4 timing. So picked up the kill there and never really let the tempo go. So a lot of people in scrims, Olaf does tend to look like this. Scrims are gone into with different practice intentions, or sometimes players don't try as hard in scrims. Olaf can really run over a game.
Yeah.
And in solo queue, Olaf can do this as well, but normally in competitive, you see Olaf fail to sort of make ganks happen, unless maybe you're watching like the LPL or something, and he doesn't tend to do much. But in games where he does get ahead to a point where people can't stabilize, it can end up looking like this, and I feel like this kind of a game is the reason why sometimes players are still like, oh, well, give me Olaf. They tend to remember these games and not the ones where they're 0-0-0-15.
And now we have Gangnam trying to bait it out. That was a really nice flash out of Grace to just barely get away from that binding. Kind of looked like it had already hit, but not quite. As you can see that team dynamics just reading into the gank patterns so far of Jin Air, and were nearly able to shut it down. At least they stopped Goong from dying one more time.
You know an interesting thing?
Yeah, what's up?
Goong's name, for those that don't know, means ultimate.
Yeah,
I know that you know that, but
yeah,
viewers don't know that.
Well,
that's the Korean word for ulti, or ultimate.
So, yeah. That's what he named himself after. Are there any players that you've seen on other servers named Ultimate?
Ooh. I know in StarCraft 1 there was a player named Ultima, which is, I think, a Final Fantasy spell.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think Ultima, yeah. But no, I don't think I've ever seen Ultimate. I think it doesn't sound that good in English.
Yeah.
3-syllable names tend to be pretty hard to make work. There's a few people that make it work.
You mean like Last Shadow?
That's not what it means.
I know that's not your name anymore.
It's been 8 years, Valdez.
Oh, boy.
Well, meanwhile, Kennen up here in top lane getting a bunch of turret plates, and that's a Shelly. Doesn't it look like Olaf has, well, never mind. we're gonna pan away from it. Oh no, we're back.
All right.
It looks like he has a pro team jersey on.
Yeah.
All right.
He's the bro-off. He's like the guy that shows up.
That's a cool chroma.
Yeah.
That actually looks like one of the color palettes for the LCK teams. You know when they show the standings?
Looks like Dom 1 or something.
Ooh.
Dom 1 colors, you know?
What if it's Jin Air colors? And that's why he chose the chroma.
No, I don't think so. Yeah. You see a rotation down here on the bottom side. They're just desperately trying to make up for the kind of disaster that's going on in the top lane.
One of the things, though, I will credit Goong with is that despite dying 3 times in the CS department, he's not down that much. He's only down 11, and which is kind of interesting given that the times where he died, his lanes were in awful states.
Yeah.
So, really surprising that it's as close as it is.
Got ganked, Nam took the blue.
Well, you don't want to give it to FedEx in mid lane over here. It's like an overnight delivery to Grace.
And it just keeps happening. It's like when you order 1 iPad, but you get like 4 and then 5. You get a new one every day. 300 gold is, you know, it's a lot of money. And, yeah, I mean, team dynamics pretty far behind for this early on in the game. This is not really the leads that we see in the LCK unless someone's really getting bopped, where I suppose you can call this a bop so far.
Now, I really hate result-based analysis, but I will say that Lissandra probably wouldn't have been playing the way that Zoe is in this game. Just throwing that out there.
That's true. He would have at least had some more tools to survive, such as Aftershock. And, yeah, the Zoe has just been picked on the entire time.
She finally has her Luden's Echo. Interestingly enough, completed it a little bit before Grace is going to recall and get it. Grace certainly has it on his recall. That is a big laser.
He's trying to up his damage numbers.
Yeah.
You know, even when they lose, it's going to be like, oh, wow, that Lux actually did a lot for our team. I should pick it again.
Oh.
Not
much is happening.
Yeah, we don't really see the Zoe anymore in the LCK.
I don't think she's back.
Even in, like, other regions as well, we don't see it that often. But, I mean, she did get nerfed a bunch of times, but then teams were still playing her.
Yeah.
And then eventually they just kind of moved away from her, even though there were no additional nerfs that did come in. I always wondered, like, what was the big reason behind that? Just a shift in meta, or...
Well, she did get removed a little bit in terms of some of the nerfs that she did end up receiving. But also, when she was really popular, the meta was a little bit different. She had some okay matchups, and she was just a champion that could really answer pretty much everything and had a lot of synergy even with her. I really do think that she's still good and that teams just refuse to sort of pick her. Maybe we'll see her again one day. Hopefully, wait, tonight's not patch notes, it's tomorrow, right? I believe tomorrow's patch. Hopefully Zoe is coming back. I don't think so. I don't know if she'll be in patch notes, but Zoe buffs would be really cool.
I mean, there's only so many people that you can have working on so many champions. So it's hard to cover everything at the same time. And, yeah, I mean...
So many champions?
Yeah.
You mean, I'm sorry, hold on, let me run it down. Silas Akali, Aurelia.
Yes, those ones. They're going to get simple nerfs and buffs tomorrow. Just look forward to it. As live.
Patrick.
Light is, well, he was in a bit of trouble. We have the TP coming in, but Jin Air saying, nuh-uh. That was a little bit too much, and now Ragnarok is down. They're going to have the chain binding here onto Balrog, and Team Dynamics are trying to come back. They get the reset, but the Jarvan immediately is going to die. So it does end up being a 1-for-1 at the end of this trade, but considering how far behind Team Dynamics was, not so bad.
Yeah. Jin Air, they're going to turn their attentions down to bottom, though. And there's another Cloud Drake coming up in just over a minute and a half, and that would actually be a really nice one to pick up. When you have one, getting the second one, it really does feel nice.
Oh boy.
As Light.
He didn't have his flash, but he stayed around the turret anyway against Zaya Rakan. Looks like based on summoner timing, probably Root just flashed on him. And you were talking about the difference in the bottom lane.
Yeah.
We've seen Light and Cougar before, and we saw a whole lot of Root and Kellen in the LCK. They're a great bot lane, and sometimes you're going to make mistakes against them.
Take a look at how this all transpires. Jin Air, they just went a little bit too deep. This is an entire team fight that doesn't need to take place, and yet they really wanted to. So, Malrong ends up dying. They get the reset, but at what cost? They end up losing out on a lot of lane control. Light staying down here, really just not respecting that Root and Kellen can close this gap, and, well, Kaisa bites the dust in the end.
Yeah, I mean, it was just not respecting the ability for Zaya to just auto you down. You know, he probably was like, okay, well, Rakan doesn't have flash or engage or anything like that, so maybe I can hold on to this turret somehow, but absolutely a big mistake to give another kill to the Zaya. It's one of those champions that you do not want to feed.
Now there's just some mid lane posturing before we re-enter a lull state. First we gotta allow the Scuttle Crab. That's Scott the Scuttle, by the way. Yeah.
Scott the Scuttle.
Yeah, that's Scott. He's about
Why
to
do we
down.
call him Scottle?
Cloud Dragon's being taken right now by Malrong.
I mean, you know, it's change one letter. It works.
All right.
Yeah.
I see where you're going with that. Personally, I'm a big fan.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. I'm glad one person liked it. As Infernal is next.
They're heating up.
Getting some cheers from the Jin Air side. They know what that means. Fans have been paying attention. They've been watching LeSneck's casts.
Yes.
They know about the Drakes. Lead hasn't grown too much. It has expanded a little bit, but you know, it has been about 6 minutes that we've been in a similar game state, with Jin Air just going really hard and getting aggressive. And we call them the gatekeepers for a reason, right? It's a team that comes into relegations, and they look great. You're like, whoa, this team, like, imagine if they played this way in LCK. But then you just have to remember, like, they tried to play this way in LCK.
Yeah, they don't play against these level of teams in the LCK.
And if you remember, they played against SKT and Damwon, and you're like, well, yeah, they tried, but it just doesn't work against them. I'm sure if Jin Air went down to challengers, they would, I mean, they could probably almost go undefeated, which would be funny. They're like a 0-18 team in LCK, but they're an 18-0 team in challengers.
There's only 14.
Well, yeah, 14-0, yeah. Sorry, forgot about that one.
Sorry.
Linderong spotted here on a ward, so Team Dynamics will back away from this one and thankfully keep this lull state alive.
Well, let's see what is going to be the plays here, as we can see that LeBlanc has a pretty easy way of running at a lot of the champions' dynamics when she is ahead. Hopefully that's not a Morella Nomicon that Grace is thinking about building. That would be a tragedy. As Banshee's Veil seems to be on the agenda for Goon. 6,000 gold lead. 3 Infernals.
Yeah.
Or, I'm sorry, not 3 Infernals. 3 minutes until Infernal.
Yeah. They're just going to be hanging on for that one. We all know Jin Air's style. Wonder if it's a mental thing as well, because, you know, mechanically, the guys on Jin Air aren't awful players or anything like that. They're not noticeably a ton worse than, you know, the average LCK player. Even guys like Root and Kellen, I mean, you were calling them the 4th best bot lane. Like, they're obviously good, but it just feels like they just don't play this way against better teams, as well as, you know, when they are playing against better teams. they don't really get the same opportunities. And in the LCK, we've seen them win 4 games in summer, and they won a bit more in spring, but they always seem to have this problem with ending games, kind of like we were seeing from APK earlier, where it's like, oh, I mean, they just don't get ahead that often, so they're like, oh, what do we do now?
Well, even when they are ahead, like what we're seeing in this game, they don't seem to know what to do. You notice we're playing ping pong with lanes over and over and over. Now, interestingly, Jin Air with the teleport on Linderong, with Olaf having his ult, having his flash available, having the LeBlanc, could just freeze a wave. And then say to Team Dynamics, hey, you want to come unlock this?
Yeah.
And if they say no, what are they going to do? Try to push one of your turrets so that you can teleport in the Kennen and then get a flank off with Slicing Maelstrom. And Dynamics, they're not in a position to fight. So if you create some way to demand that they fight you, you force their hand.
Yeah, but, you know, we don't do that here in Korea. We don't know about that F word, the freezing word. Jin Air just taking it the old-fashioned way, pushing down the top lane here. Poke it down and just take it away, as Team Dynamics do not have control of their red side jungle, so they just can't get there on time to rotate, especially against a LeBlanc. So another objective is going to go down here on that side. Yeah, and we're just, you know, just kind of hanging out, just relaxing, watching some League of Legends with the boys and the girls.
Well, 20 seconds until the Infernal Dragon. I can't imagine a world where Team Dynamics would be able to get it, so hopefully one of the primary carries of Jin Air are highlighted, either Xayah or LeBlanc, when that is captured, so we can see what kind of augment is given.
Guess what item LeBlanc built?
Trying to make me quit?
Yeah, yeah, that's my goal. Trying to, you know, make your rage quit. So I can just have a solo cast and talk about
healing.
hockey.
What healing does LeBlanc need to reduce?
So, there's the
Aatrox,
Aatrox in the game.
Okay. So Kennen has that covered. What what other?
Well, you see, he wanted to keep an extra slot so that he could keep his corrupting potion
he had
at 25 minutes.
He had a blasting one, so he could have just upgraded it into a void staff, maybe, if he wanted it.
No.
No?
No.
But they have MR.
No. No, we don't do that here.
All right.
We don't build void staffs. I actually, like, I feel like I can't remember the last time I saw a void staff.
Every time I talk about Morello, people will make the comment, but they want Magic Pen. That's great. That's attached to Oblivion Orb.
Yeah.
When you upgrade
You don't
Morello,
need the full item.
you spend 1,400 gold for an extra 50 ability power, Grievous Wounds, and 100 HP. That's not worth it. I'm so sorry. Just sit on Oblivion Orb. You got the pen. That's all that you need.
If it makes you any happier, I do it all the time in solo queue.
You sit on Oblivion.
Yeah, I
Does
stand
make me
Oblivion.
happy.
Yeah.
That brightens my day.
Before that, I would always build Morellos. You know what I mean? But then I saw the light. The light shower.
Do you build Leandres now?
Yeah, sometimes. Depends on the champion. But
Void Staff is good as well.
yeah, I go Void Staff whenever they build MR, which, you know, it's solo queue, so less often than pro play. So yeah, I mean, Jin Air just trying to shut down all the vision. They got that Infernal Drake extremely simply. As okay, we're trying to get in there. 2 charmed up members. Linderong and Root pretty late to the party though. Light able to get in there and get the kill. Double distortion out of Grace, but it's not enough damage. As well, the laser's gonna hit nobody. And the only team that comes out ahead is actually Team Dynamics.
Well, Dynamics come out ahead in this, and it also came at the expense of so many spells on the side of Jin Air. So this is a scary situation where, yeah, they got an Infernal Dragon. If this game goes another 8 minutes or so, more item completions come in. That's going to be the timing where I mentioned the scaling for Dynamics. Team composition, despite being so stunted and slowed, it will come online. So, what an awful angle. Linderong just couldn't do anything. They were so disjointed inside of that fight. So, they're down 5,000 gold, but it's not the end of the world. Let Zoe, Kaisa get to 4 items. So, Lux even is an interesting piece to this puzzle because her barrier scales really well against the Jin Air team composition, and also just her damage starts becoming pretty serious given that there's not going to be that much defensive itemization on the side of Jin Air, who they've gone full glass cannon with their build. Kennen has
All
a
of
Rabadon's death count.
Everybody is a glass cannon. There's one Ninja Tabi, and there's one No Magic Mantle. And, you know, Zeke's for the support, but everybody else is really just stacking up the damage. And I mean, you can tell that, yeah, they do a lot, but if you're going to have a fight like that last one, probably not going to go very well for you, as that was pretty close, actually, to Kellen. They're now trying to threaten the Baron here, but Team Dynamics are more confident to move forward and clear out vision now. They've retaken control of their red side jungle at least. And it's going to be a process to take it back if you're Jin Air. So it definitely does end up being a very important fight that does occur. Ooh,
Yeah.
nice damage.
And we are back in the lull state. Are you excited or what?
This is where I live. This is how I live my life. I stay in the lull state.
I'm borderline molding right
Border-
now. Borderline.
Okay.
Not quite. Oh, man. Let's actually go for it.
Male pattern baldness.
You know, I like what Dynamics is doing, though. They're doing the thing I talk about pretty often. You have the blue trinket, you scout the Baron. You play defensive, Phalanx red side jungle, and just deny. This is it. This is actually the turtle that scaling team compositions can do. And if you look at Jin Air, the game has hit a tipping point where you can't really split push. You're not getting good Drake RNG. You can't just start the Baron. It's a very awkward situation where you got so far ahead with the team comp that you drafted that you put a condition on yourself to get ahead with, and then failed to actually close it out. And so now, Dynamics is like, okay, well, now it's our turn.
Look at the gold lead since 18 minutes.
They haven't done anything.
It's been the exact same.
Why you freeze.
That's why you freeze to force them out of the turtle. But the weird thing about it is that
if the turtle's still getting resources,
okay, good flash. He's going to be able to get away from that one. We also had a 2-on-1 in the bottom side, but everybody lives. Everybody is going to stay alive as flashes do go down on the side of Jisoo and Light. Nice little poke there. Let's see if he goes for it. He did more damage to Grace than Brute did to him, so I suppose that's a win for the Zoe.
I just imagine in my head there's an imaginary island where Dynamics are on right now.
Yeah.
And then Jin Air with all their like battleships are just around it, and they're like, all right, we would like to fight. We have a much larger army. And then they can't actually break into the island, but there's these cargo ships that keep going into the island to give them food.
Yeah.
And it never crosses Jin Air's mind to maybe just cut off the food supply.
Yeah.
And maybe they'll have to come out and have a fight with you.
Yeah.
It's really weird how that works.
It's like they've never studied what a siege is from like medieval times.
They don't know what the war. They don't know what war of attrition is.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I mean, everybody nowadays watches YouTube and Fortnite. And
I'm literally
League of
thinking
Legends.
of you know the Horde in Warcraft, right? I'm just thinking of some really strong like orc with like a helmet on. And he just keeps looking at the ship going into the island and out. And he's just staring at it angrily, and he doesn't know what to do or say.
With a bunch of his giant battleships, just like letting the cargo
There's
ship
like
through.
There's a troll that just keeps throwing axes at the wall, but nothing happened. Zug Zug. Oh,
I mean, we laugh about it, but that's what a lot of teams do, right? Okay, we're going in. And Jinner said they've had enough of the siege. They're barging down. They're breaking down the wall, as that inner turret was not enough of a defense for Jinner to, or rather for Dynamics to stay alive underneath. So Jinner able to pick off 2, including the jungler, and now they'll have an open path to the meaty underbelly of the fortress, the Baron. And they'll try to push that into a win.
And so now with the Baron, they should be able to perforate the defenses of Dynamic, no matter how hard they try to hang on. Oh, Googers, he
He had to check with Redemption,
yeah,
but he checked too early, so it was still at like 9,000. He's like, well, I guess I'm just gonna have to try to guess it here. Nice try. I mean, zero vision, so what can you do? But this actually turns out to be a really nice engage from Jinner.
It was a really nice turret dive that they were able to execute because the vision and timings for Dynamic wasn't there, but in addition to that, they weren't playing around it regardless of if they had the vision or not. And so the opportunity arises, and Jinner barrel down through. Now, had Dynamics just surrendered the mid-tier 2 turret, what is a couple hundred gold at this stage of the game? Not much.
Nothing at all. I mean, it's not going to change the game state at all. If you're having your base broken or something like that, I can understand making a last stand, but I do agree that you got to be careful about those inner turrets when you're up against Ken and Rakan. Right? They have the ability to close distances extremely fast. And now with the Baron, Jinner, you know, we had an extended lull state because of those darn cargo ships that they could never stop from reaching the base. But now that the Baron's here, they finally found a way. It's stronger ships. Those ships are coming for the base of Team Dynamics.
Malrong escorting the bot minion wave as they are trying to perforate the base, but not able to just yet. Grace comes over. And that cannon is really chipping away. Finally busted into the base. Cannon doing work up there in top lane. I don't think that Dynamics can hang on to all this.
Doesn't look like it. I mean, they're just getting split up right now. It's 1 to... Well, I guess it's a 1-3-1 with... Well, actually, Grace came down to the bottom side, so 1-2-2. Everybody's splitting, everybody's in a different lane, and every single side of Team Dynamics is being pushed in right now.
Now, if you want to be super careful as Jinner, you go and pick up the Elder. That's if you want to have absolutely no... I'm so sorry.
You're good.
Yeah. Yeah, I just choked up a little bit. That was weird.
You're getting a little bit sad, you know, that finally Jinner is getting a win. Well, they're going to come in here, and I think they're absolutely going to win right now. They don't seem like they want to back off and go for that Elder. And Jinner will pick up another game win here in the 2020 Spring Promotions. As they're just taking their time here, they want to be safe on the push at least. They know still that Dynamics have some pick power. And they're really just...
the cannon!
They're letting the cannons do the job. They're just being that safe right now. Finally, the engage comes in. Gank now. It's not going to be able to do enough as down will go the Nexus, and Jinner are going to win game number 1.
They take game number 1. They manage to execute upon the condition that they set for themselves, which is Olaf has to get kills. LeBlanc has to get kills. And because of Goong's awful lane management, that's the only way I can describe it, they were able to start getting that acceleration early on. And Goong, he did a nice job at keeping up in CS. I believe it was, what, 124 to 113, I think, at one point in this game. And surprisingly, though, Dynamics' bot lane did a lot better against Root and Kellen than I was expecting. But all around, they fell really far behind. We got to see the team composition stalled. And it almost got brought back to a point where Team Dynamics would have been able to legitimately fight to win the game, but that mid-tier 2, Jin never let them come back after that. They captured Baron, and then swiftly after that, that's the ammo that they needed to perforate the base.
Yeah, and it was a good play by Jin to make it happen, as trying to fly to the sky here. Once again, and you can see the side of Team Dynamics, they're not exactly happy about this one. Rough loss to take, but the turtling was one nice point from the loss, where we felt like they were handling it well up until that one breaking point.
Yeah.
And Jin though, it really got to hand it to them. I mean, they look even better than Hanwha Life so far in the promotion tournament. They just look so comfortable here, and they make it happen. Great reads on the way that Team Dynamics was playing. We got a couple of Root fans here. And, well, there's a good reason to be a Root fan.
Show me an ADC carry. Jin fighting on the right. And the guy on the left, just the sign just says Root.
Yeah, with a dash.
With a dash.
Yeah. That's it. That's all he's got.
I think he's asking for Lucian. A dash.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
You see?
Yeah. Makes sense.
You know, I was thinking in the way over here, actually, that Root and Teddy's Lucians do stand out a little bit.
Yeah.
Although Teddy's Lucian, it has an assassin vibe to it late game. It's very strange. So
these damage charts are off the chain. You can see where the game stalled from minute 18 to minute 33. It's like, yeah, so about 15 minutes we just sat there and waited.
A lot of people probably wonder, well, how does this not happen in other regions? Well, other regions, the teams would try to push out and fight Jin.
Yeah, that would happen. But either way, guys, we are going to go to a quick break. We'll be right back.
천천히 하면 끝나. 천천히. 거의 다
앞에서 깝치면 걸어.
잠깐만. 얘네 걸 거야. 얘네 걸 거야.
걸지마.
얘네가 걸 거야. 얘네가.
제발 걸지마 그냥. 아무것도 하지마 제발. 그냥 끝나.
넣으면.
가만히 있자.
가만히 있으면 끝나. 민현이 끝내줘 이거. 얘네 걸어야 돼.
가만히 있게.
얘네 건다. 이번에 건다.
걸어야 돼 얘네.
걸러 나온다.
내가 소파
야, 싸우자 그냥. 싸우자.
그냥
나 뛸게 이거.
싸우자.
이겨. 끝내. 나이스.
깔끔했어.
너무 답답하긴 했는데.
깔끔하진 않았는데 나쁘진 않았어.
Welcome back, guys. We're here for more of the promotion tournament. We got Team Dynamics up against Jin Air, and Jin Air, the kings of the promotion tournament, the gatekeepers of the LCK, were able to take game number one, and they looked really good doing it. There was a bit of a lull state there in the middle, but they eventually got the job done in swift fashion, and we are expecting them to actually win in the next one after their performance in game one.
Yeah, I mean, Jin Air actually did what I expected them to do in game number one, which was get advantages, take a long time to close, but then eventually find a way to do so. And so in game number two, the thing I'm looking out for is they did it in the lane that I least expected them to do it in. And so what's going to happen if in game number two, Root and Kellen really get going? Because I talked about that in game one as being one of the main points, because I don't expect Jin Air to get massive edges up in top lane. Jisu's actually really solid as a top laner. So we'll see what happens in game two's pick ban, because Dynamic, they got the better draft. It could have been better. Could have been optimized to be better suited against Jin Air's, but they still had a pretty nice draft. So now, in game number two, they're on the blue side. Let's see what they have in store.
Seems like the blue side is the favorite for all of the teams that have played today. As, well, actually earlier today, Hama did select red. And then, who's the team they played against? APK did select blue. So, it was a little bit different, but so far over here, both teams selecting blue. As the Skarner and the Akali gonna be taken away.
Silas now being banned by Team as what is going to be Jin Air's next follow-up ban. It will be the Rise, so they're still respecting that.
Yeah, the Rise. Definitely a scary pick for Jisoo, as you were mentioning before. Red side, we saw Renekton, Silas, Akali bans out of Team Dynamics. See if the Renekton actually falls off the table this time around, as the Olaf was too much for Team Dynamics to handle. And it will be taken off the table here and banned.
And that's really interesting to me. The Olaf wasn't the reason that Goong died in mid at level 4. There is a ton of other junglers that could have showed up at the point that Olaf did. So what that says to me is that their assessment of last game was not very astute in terms of what was really problematic.
Huh.
Especially because Olaf's not a counter jungle champ or a counter pick jungle champion.
Yeah.
So Yuumi picked up though. And now Volibear being hovered with Elise.
Yeah, and Malrong likes his Elise. We know we've seen this before. We've seen him try to coin flip and go for really risky, aggressive paths, ignoring his jungle, trying to go for early ganks, and have it be scouted out by smarter teams than Jin Air in the LCK and have him look silly. But here, first of all, by the way, we might get our first Yuumi Garen. It looks like it's happening as the crowd goes wild. And we are actually going to have this strategy come to Korea, as it will happen here for the first time. But what I was mentioning about Malrong is maybe against a team like Team Dynamics, his antics and his aggressive jungling can catch them by surprise.
We're going to have to see what Jin Air's answer to this is going to be. And I really wish I knew a lot more about this particular duo. And just seeing it 10, 20, 30 games, it really isn't enough for me to feel super comfortable about talking about clear-cut answers or directions that you should go with trying to answer it. The Vayne, in theory, sounds pretty good, but I'll have to see how it plays out. This is one of those instances where I can't criticize it, Valdez. I don't know enough.
Yeah. Well, it's good that you do that and you say that rather than throwing out some words and hoping they stick.
Throwing out a world salad. Just hoping for the results.
Hope that it matches up with what happens.
All right, well, Jarvan now going to be banned away from Kanknam. As Team Dynamics now, they are going up against a bit of a weird angle here. It's going to be a bit awkward to decide how to ban out. Probably Renekton still just gets banned because Elise is there. And now Jin Air can just continue to focus down junglers if they really want to. Can even ban the Sedge, I guess. It'd be very awkward to have to itemize the Quicksilver Sash. But it's gonna be the Gragas instead.
I feel like that's close. Gragas can do a lot of stuff that Sejuani does. And it's very popular nowadays.
Yeah.
It's also a AP jungler, of which they do not have AP just yet, outside of the Yuumi, I guess.
Aatrox now gonna be the ban, or well, Team Dynamics banning away Aatrox. So, what is Jin Air going to do here? They have to show their mid or their top. Probably should show top first.
Yeah, it's probably something that
Ooh,
Jin
how
Air-
about a champion that can do both?
Yeah.
Potentially. You know, I can't imagine that Karma would be that bad here either, as a champion that could do both. So, champions like that are definitely good in spots like this. as now Team Dynamics has to decide what are they going to do. You know, I've talked about him quite a few times in the broadcast, but Kassadin is not bad in a spot like this. They have very limited amounts of CC on Jinair, and they have several squishies that he can easily stay on top of with his Rift Walk and get onto. And it's a champion that we just don't see really picked all that much. He got a slight, well, I don't want to call it a slight buff. It's a massive laning phase buff
Yeah.
to his W recently. But it looks like Team Dynamics, they're hovering the Rek'Sai and then picking up a LeBlanc. So they're going full-on aggression.
The Zed hover, shouting out to Chungo. And hovering over a bunch of different things here. Lissandra, you mentioned before, into the LeBlanc. Wouldn't have been a bad idea in game number 1, and they're good. Jinair's actually going to play it here against Team Dynamics' composition in game 2.
LeBlanc again, or Lissandra against LeBlanc. That's what I,
Yeah.
That's what I came here for.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is it. So, Vayne
He came from Gangnam to watch
came from Gangnam to watch Gangnam.
Yeah. Jinair fan.
Can you imagine if pro players had to choose like theme songs as they entered? And
I
just
wish they could.
chose
Yeah.
Gangnam style.
Yeah.
That would be pretty
you know,
good.
if he didn't choose that, I think we'd all be a little bit disappointed.
Well, team composition for Jinair now scales infinitely more than that of Team Dynamics. So they'll have that edge, which is really good if you're Jinair as well, because games don't tend to end that early. And the Lissandra, I talked about this in the last game. I said that it's what Team Dynamics should have picked against the LeBlanc. But here we are, Jace, Rek'Sai, LeBlanc, Garen, and Yuumi down there in the bot lane. I'm excited to really watch it here
Yeah.
and try to run through situations in my head about how it's going to scale on in the game against this lineup of Volibear, Vayne, Lissandra, Elise, and at the top side, Vladimir. So lots of magic damage coming out from the top half, but Vayne with her true damage and on hit, it's a very awkward team to itemize against.
Yeah, we'll see how they can handle this here. Team Dynamics coming out with the slick strats for game number 2. Hoping to catch Jinair off guard. Let's see how it goes as we hop onto the Rift.
That guy probably just blew out his vocal cords. Oh,
He's still
man.
going for it.
They are still, they're trying to generate enough lift.
And that might have been a Garen fighting after that.
This is like, this is the first part of Liftoff where everything seems to be good, and now you're just waiting for part 2. See if we can actually get off the ground.
Oh, yeah.
You know? Let's see, can they do it? Valdez, are you ready to be here with me today? Do you think Garen's a warrior in WoW?
미니언들이 생성되었습니다.
Or do you think he'd be a paladin?
He's a warrior, for sure.
Okay. I guess
I mean, he looks like the paladin.
he really
like
does.
the colors,
Yeah.
but just the giant sword and the way that he carries himself just screams warrior. As well, Jace apparently is a warrior who is hopping on in there, and oh, he almost hit him with another one. Talked about Jisoo, strong top laner. Had a rough time in the counter matchup.
It's a very heavy leash right there by Light and Googer.
That's a solo queue leash.
Yeah, that... You know what? Korean solo queue leashes are the thing of legends.
Oh, yeah. People watch my stream, they're like, wait, he's actually going to give you second blue? I'm like, if he didn't...
I would AFK.
That guy has had too many people AFK against him for him to do that. Like, you can't just do that. Not in Korean solo queue. Taking trades here, big boy Garen. Getting on in there.
Googer looking for any sort of poke damage that he possibly can. I really appreciate the observers here.
Yeah, thank you for the zoom in.
They're giving us a lot of attention on the lane that is the most interesting. I don't need to see a LeBlanc and a Lissandra throw Qs at each other and a a Vladimir stay 700 range away from a Jace while trying to heal himself up occasionally. So, no. Wait. Oh, well, Grace.
All right. He's going to go for an early flash there. He didn't want to have the thing happen where, you know, the chain lands and then LeBlanc flashes on you. But, yeah. Finally, Garen is having his debut game. First time in Korea on a live broadcast. You guys were there.
Oh, man. They are trying to orchestrate this. Now, Blight has teleport, so even if he dies, it's not the end of the world. But you can tell that he's sniffing it out. They know this is the timing where Malrong can dive.
All right.
Oh, what a condemn!
Yep, gonna get it right into the wall. Down will go the Garen. And the Yuumi should be following soon after, although there is no repel, so maybe they'll just let her live. But getting the kill and almost a plate there. Definitely going to be worth it. A nice gank to start us off here from Malrong.
Why did Goong just come down from mid? What is he? What was he actually thinking right there as...
I guess thinking they were going to dive the Yuumi and maybe he could get there to catch a straggler?
Well, in the end, they managed to preserve the turret plate at least. Teleport now coming out.
Oh boy, he gets the flash knockup actually. Well done on the mechanics there from the side of Team Dynamics. This time, they're fighting back.
Jace now getting an advantage is pretty big for them. LeBlanc trying her damnedest to crash in the mid wave. You can see the ping's going down onto the turret. Now, notice this is very similar to the game before. LeBlanc out of mana, Zoe out of mana. This is a very painful lane state that I wish that we could look at. But first, we're going to take a look at the really good condemn and turret juggling that was done by Jinair. Oh man, mid lane is over. Don't lose the freeze. No, don't shove the wave. No, pull it back. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh!
Oh!
He did it.
Man.
What?
Oh, 911. I'd like to report a murder in mid lane right now.
How did he was
What
like
an absolute nightmare. Rek'Sai, you need to pass to mid.
No,
And Rek'Sai, he's
getting
busy.
Krugs.
He's gonna go to Krugs.
Yeah.
Ah, foiled again.
Now that is something that will happen in Korean solo queue. Jisoo is just dumping on this top lane, but how about a little rotation from our friends in the bottom lane and a big spider? Didn't expect this one as the read there from the jungle from Malrong is going to be good enough. Linderong almost dies.
And look at mid lane while all this is happening. I believe Grace is holding
Looks like
a
it, yeah.
permanent freeze. So, Goong, this is 2 games in a row that he can't spell mid lane.
Oh, another nice contend there from the side of Root. The guy has played his own fair share of Vayne. You can see that the Lissandra's very far ahead. We'll take another look here at the replay. Easy to line up that cocoon. Nowhere for you to go. Linderong nearly hands it back, but will survive.
Now Goong still relatively close in CS though. After all is said and done, as Grace did eventually unlock the freeze, you can see all the question mark pings going down by what I assume to be the LeBlanc. Scuttle Crab spawned on the left-hand side, so very nice RNG. As they're coming back down, they want to kill Light and Googer.
Oh boy. No vision at all. Light does have his flash. We'll see if he goes for it. He does not flash the cocoon. And he's going to take a bunch of damage, but he will maybe go down. But the shield from the auto onto the Garen. Well done by Googer to keep his guy alive. As it will still be a successful gank in the fact that they're going to get a bunch of plates. But he saved the life of that poor Garen.
And it's a really nice save right there by Googer at the very end. So, unfortunate for Jinair that they did not get the kill. They will get a lot of turret plates though. But so far, this Garen Yuumi, it's really not working out. So I have to wonder, when does it start to come online? They are getting the teleport out of Root. That is very unfortunate that this was necessary. No, Ocean Dragon being captured.
Foiled again by the
They
Ocean Drake.
basically have 3 champions on their team that don't even use mana, essentially. So,
Awkward spot here for Grace. Rotating over for the blue. They stop the Ocean Drake. Maybe they were listening. No Ocean Drake capture will come in here from Jin Air. Well, just gonna sit back and scale up with Vlad Vayne. Doesn't sound so bad.
take a look at how this all transpires. The CC not chained together, as good as it could have been. And there's definitely a world where Root kills Garen, if they play that a little bit better. But nonetheless, coming back into real time, Root, despite the teleport that had to be used top lane, he's still up 7 CS. He also has a call to boot, so. Oh, he also has a freeze, and this is really bad for Light and Guger. They can't even walk up to the wave, and there's Malraq.
Guess who's back?
We're actually seeing
Back
a
again.
beautiful example of why you freeze.
Yeah.
This is great.
And we've been seeing it a lot in the whole game, actually.
Need some clips.
Yeah. Someone
Oh,
get a clip
man.
and link it to Ellis's Twitter. He'll need that later for his, own personal use. As taking a look here at Linderong's difficult laning phase, Gangnam has been up in the top side multiple times, and it's just been getting flopped on by Jace over and over and over again. As Jisoo actually got aggro there, and Linderong will not be dove at the end. The Ocean Drake will finally come down here. They waited a bit. They wanted to get the blue and secure it. Cloud Drake is up next. So we'll go straight into a Tsunami combo.
Well, now, because of the bottom wave lane proximity, it's on Jin Air's side, so it would inevitably slow push into Light and Guger anyway. And that's why we see Root. He's not wasting any time, just starting to hit it so that he can potentially get the crash off and thus the bounce back, and thus again repeat the previous lane state where Malraq was able to come down. So they get the crash. Now it'll actually slow push back into Jin Air. Learning lane manipulation here on the broadcast
Give it
today.
to us. We need to study.
So now Vayne will get back to the bot lane and have a wave just in front of her turret that she can try to hold. But we can see that Kellen, he's going for a roam, so we'll see what Light and Guger try to do if Vayne threatens to just hold the turret. Looks like she's taking a pit stop at Bertha first.
Yeah, everybody's favorite pit stop location. Bertha Grom comes back down, gonna catch the wave.
Here it is. Now, she doesn't have the ability to just hold it because she doesn't have enough sustain. Has the build, Border Cutlass has the call, but doesn't want to stand still because Kellen's proximity is a little bit far away. So had Kellen just been there, had he cam right back down, would have been a massive wave. They could just hold in front of the turret, Malraq comes down, gets the Gromp. You repeat the same thing you just did a few minutes ago.
Yeah, and guess what? Elise is back in the bottom lane. And it looks like Root is pushing a bit. See him tumbling. And yeah, just trying to set up another dive here, if possible. But Malraq already taking a bunch of damage. Feeding your bait plates is never a bad idea.
Light years behind right now. So I'm really waiting to see when it comes online. Because I'm having a hard time knowing what is supposed to really happen, because this Vayne is just getting to coast.
Well, that condemn is not going to land this time around. The final chapter not doing much as, okay, Kellen going to take a bunch of damage, but Root, really nice juggle there on the aggro as Linderong, or rather Grace, is going to get to the bottom side and get the first roam on a LeBlanc. Gets there on time, and they're going to take out this turret just after 12 minutes.
And also, I mean, Grace has teleport available, and we can see what's happening with the Rift Herald up in top. It wasn't able to raise the turret for Jisoo. Linderong able to hold on to it.
He's doing his job.
Things are just going from bad to worse right now for Team Dynamics. They're down 2,000 gold to a team comp that scales way better. But also, I want to point out how the Rek'Sai, the Yuumi, and the Garen are all essentially going to be melee against a Lissandra passive inside of the team fights. It's going to be a nightmare situation for them.
And they can clump up a lot as well, so
yeah.
You have Vlad that's just going to like sail right underneath everybody on your team and create a lot of space. Both Vlad and Lissandra are not tanks, obviously, but they can create a lot of space, and that's exactly what Vayne needs. So I like the comp here from Janair. They've got some early ganking potential to get their scaling lanes ahead, and it's been working out really well. I mean, Linderong's playing the weak side great as well. He's not dying outside of that one time where he almost escaped. We're taking a look here at the replay.
And it was a nice attempt of Light and Guga to try to do as much as they possibly could, but Grace being there was just a little bit more than they could handle. And then once you kill Yumi's host, killing Yuumi is a lot like walking over honey fruit, so not too, not long for the world.
Definitely not that difficult. As up in the top lane now, we have the rotation already coming in, the lane swap. After the turret goes down, Linderong and Jisoo gonna go bot. And I wonder if Kanknam is going to follow him into the bottom lane because he's been camping top the entire game. Not there for any counter ganks on the bottom side. He's got one kill done, as well as getting the Rift Herald, but that's not nearly enough to keep Team Dynamics on the same level of Janair. And so we have our first game of Garen, but unfortunately it looks like one of these, where it's like, well, why did you decide to do that? And that can be results-oriented. So you got to be careful with that kind of analysis. It's another trade in the bottom side. Linderong just trying to stay alive, and Jace is out of mana, so he's doing his job, just taking good trades and surviving.
Linderong, I mean, that's all that Vladimir has to do. He's sort of like the guy that says over here and you have to keep chasing him, and you can never actually get onto him. Feels really bad.
It's like playing Marco Polo with that one friend that's like really good at the game. You're like, how is this even possible?
You feel like you're in a fun house or something?
Yeah.
And you don't know what's happening.
Yeah. It's, he's like throwing stuff on the other side of the pool
to
make
talk about
it sound like, you know, someone's over there.
Champion. Vladimir's one. You really, really can't kill him almost, unless he really messes up.
Yeah, I find that my Vlads in solo queue either go, you know, 0-0 for 15 minutes or they're like 0-5. Because, you know, they're like, oh, I'm Vladimir, I never die. And they're like level 3 and they're halfway up the lane. I'm like, you're going to get ganked and die. And that's exactly what happens. But yeah, especially in pro play, like these players know exactly how Vlad is supposed to be played. And he very rarely dies. And now Janair just trying to put on the pressure. You see them looking to put pressure on the top side of the map here. They had even the Lissandra coming up towards the top.
I mean, at this point in the game, things are looking really grim for Team Dynamics. The Vayne just is going to keep getting stronger as the game goes on. The Lissandra is so problematic for the team composition. Garen's items are so stunted right now.
Yeah.
It really looks like you're in a game where a solo queue player just got really mad his previous game and he just queued up.
That happens sometimes where somebody comes in and he locks in like Teemo. Teemo's very popular for top laners. And then you look at his match history, he's lost the last 7 games. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess I gotta dodge. Cloud Drake comes on in, teleport is used, and Janair's like, sure, have it, whatever. We don't care. How about we push the mid lane instead? That's actually a really smart decision that we see a lot of teams don't make very often. Quick response from Team Dynamics to come in there and stop the push at least.
Root gonna be able to pick up the top tier 1 turret though.
Yeah, all the while. And Janair know that. They're like, okay, well, we don't really want to force a fight here. We can just sit back and scale. We have that in our composition. They have a Garen. As now we can go for the play. As
Flanking Vayne.
underneath the turret, they are diving. One member is going to go down. Jisoo is going to get on in there, but look at the Vayne in the back line. Going to take down one. Will take down the second. Let's roll over the Honey Fruit too. That's a triple kill. As down will go the Jace as well. The Quadra will come in for Root as he's 5-0-2.
All right, well, I think Jisoo's face in the player cam basically said it all. I think that they know that that's probably going to be all that they wrote in this game.
I mean, it's after 15 minutes, this would be a surrender.
All right.
In solo queue.
Yeah, in solo queue, that's actually the cue for the surrender
that's the
vote.
cue right there.
We see that they dive, but how often do you get flanked by Vayne?
Yeah.
Of all champions, she comes in. Root, great attention to detail inside of the fight. What an astute player here as he analyzed the situation, broke it down, knew that he could get himself that quadra kill.
Wow.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah. I mean, that's the Vayne dream, right? Where, by the way, picked up Quincy's and a dagger. And, well, yeah, Garen's doing his thing, but nobody really cares about Garen anymore in this game. Vayne's dream is where everybody used all their flashes and CC especially, and everybody's super low. And you just tumble into a fight with Final Hour, and you're like, hey, what's up? I'm going to get a bunch of kills, and I'm going to carry the game. And, yeah, that's exactly what Root's about to do. And, you know, if he just auto-ganked Nam before the tower killed him and gave the kill to Malrong, he would have got a penta. But he just didn't auto.
Jace has a maul, by the way.
Yeah. He got that first.
Yeah.
He had boots and a maul.
Linderong. Larry. Look at the damage still.
Yeah, he's winning now. This is how this lane changes. And, well, nothing's going to land on the opposite side. Nobody's diving in there. Well, the game was just broken wide open.
And, you know, there was not much that Team Dynamics could do. LeBlanc's not going to do anything, nor can she really move against the Lissandra. And Goong even taking the cleanse, respecting the Elise Lissandra. Okay, well, she's just going to run away.
Yeah. Aftershock. It's like, okay, well, you literally do nothing in this game.
I think a lot of people forgot about Lissandra. She disappeared. She did get nerfed pretty hard.
Yeah.
But against some team compositions and in certain matchups, she's still just as obnoxious as Vladimir.
Yeah.
So.
Such an annoying composition to play against. You just look at every champion on the enemy team and you're like, oh, maybe I should just dodge. Although, Vayne Volibear and solo queue, you could probably just gank that lane a couple times and win the game. But this ain't solo queue, this is Jin Air. And as we said before, they're the kings of the promotion tournament. You gotta be better than Jin Air if you want to make it into the LCK. And Team Dynamics is making it apparent that they are absolutely not as good as Jin Air.
Well, now Jin Air just waiting, biding their time. They have 2 core items on the Vayne, but probably waiting for the Lissandra and Vladimir to follow suit. They have a just over 4,000 gold lead. Goong gonna try to trade onto the Lissandra. And Trace is just gonna E away. We can see that on the minimap.
You remember the time that the lull stage started in game 1? 18 minutes.
Yes.
You remember the time where the last team fight just ended? 18 minutes.
All right, give me a number crunch here, quick. How much longer are we in this?
So in game 1, the lull state lasted 15 minutes. It was actually quite a long lull state.
Right.
A lung state, if you will.
Okay.
And so I think this one, because the players are getting a little bit more antsy, they're gonna make a fight happen before then. I'm gonna say 27-30 is my prediction.
Okay.
Pretty good.
Pretty fair, yeah.
Pretty good timing. Trying to get on top of light here, as final chapter is pretty good against champions that do line up. So we'll save the Garen's life.
Linderong now Looking like he's just going to start the Dragon for Malrong to come over and then capture. And Jin Air, I do have to give them credit though, they played pretty clean in the early start of the game.
Guess what's 5 minutes from now? Infernal Spawn. Guess what's also 5 minutes from now? 27:30. That's the time. Although Malrong in a bit of trouble here as Team Dynamics trying to get aggressive with the pick after the repel was used. And a bit of a rotation. Goong was thinking about it, but saw Grace and Root thought better. And so no kill will actually happen. And the rotation and the lull state will continue.
Bot tier 1 turret finally going to be captured for Team Dynamics here. Black Cleaver for Garen, so he has 1 core item.
And wards.
And he has wards.
Yeah.
That's very important.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Well, he just got condemned to... How did he not die? So just was
Block
barely
clone
not
is
enough
very
damage.
nice.
Yeah.
Very cool thing. Oh! Jin Air.
2 champs that are really good at Baron are Elise and Vayne. So they just decide, hey, maybe we can just do it. They're looking for the turn now as the final chapter comes in. But look at that crazy damage out of Vayne right now as immediately the chase goes down.
Oh, silence on Vlad.
That's going to be a couple of kills already for the 7-0-2 Vayne. As Linderong was getting in there, the silence was good. He couldn't kill a Garen, of course. And, well, it's really not about the Vlad in this game. It's about good old Vayne.
And now they're playing around the fact that Team Dynamic have to... Now see, I actually really like this. Dynamic acknowledges that, yes, Jin Air can be on the Baron, but it can also be on the brush. They approach the brush as if Jin Air were in the brush.
Yeah.
I like it.
That's how you do it.
That's how you do it.
I mean, Team Dynamics, even though they did lose game number 1 and they're losing in this one, they've shown that they're very intelligent when it comes to playing around the enemy team doing Baron, which is a skill that even LCK teams struggle with on a very basic level.
When we take a look at the replay, Grace came in, and he actually used his claw to enter the fight, which wasn't necessary. He could have just walked down for a natural flank and saved his claw for something else. Ended up getting blown up immediately as 4,000 gold lead here is the current lead.
I wonder where all the gold is. Just picked up a Phantom Dancer. Already had QSS. 7-0-2. Bot difference right now is out of control. Although Malrong obviously did help with the early gank. Jace trying to do his thing, building lethality after the Maw is complete.
And he'll benefit from the double Black Cleaver.
Take
that
a
has
look
already
at
been picked up.
Linderong.
I mean, here you go, Valdez. A minute and a half until the next Infernal.
Yep, that's the moment. Although we have had a bunch of action, so
yeah.
I'm not sure if the lull state is actually still on. It happened sooner than we imagined. As, how about we just do it again, says Jin Air. And by again, I suppose they mean let's hide in the brush and wait for a blue trinket.
They are checking and playing around everything.
Oh, able to get that blade on a Jisoo, but he survives in light. Quite tanky, but a big Hemo Plague into the back line as Linderong trying to do the damage. Maroon is going to go down to the Arcane Comet in the back line somehow. And Linderong is going to get executed from so high held. Downey will go and Goong will stay alive. And Jin Air, that was not the cleanest fight, and they go down.
Jin Air really overeager right there inside of that team fight in Team Dynamics. The Garen was so tanky and able to absorb so much damage. Dynamics now, they bite back and they've closed the gold gap. They're gonna raise this mid-tier 2 turret. Infernal Dragon is up now. Are they just gonna run over to it? If they recall, that's gonna be pretty sad because it would mean that Jin Air most likely definitely get the Infernal.
Now they're all recalling. There was one ping over there, but there were a hell of a lot more red pings from the side of Jin Air, as they really did not want to give it up. And they were expecting Team Dynamics to be in there, so they wanted to get their ASAP, but Team Dynamics give it away. And technically we did have a really big team fight happen at around 27:30. So yeah, kind of was right there.
You're on point, Valdez.
It was around the time we had a big fight.
Give me back the paper.
Yeah, well.
You couldn't read it correctly.
Well, I found one fight on the paper.
That is true.
There were more before that, but I just
Grace.
skimmed over this. Grace gonna be fine here. The Garen, he's getting in there actually. The final chapter coming out now. He's looking for that execution on a Malarong. Not quite enough damage from the Jace follow-up. You see that Linderong always looking for that flank, but Light is becoming a big tank that is not easily dealt with, especially with the follow-up poke damage from Jace and even LeBlanc. And the cat, Yumi, who starting to actually hurt.
Team Dynamics are still in this game. I mean, there's a 2-level disparity in... Oh, hold that thought.
All right, gonna flip that Garen over, but he's alive again, but Jisoo is absolutely dead. Goo gonna go into the back line, but that's not enough. And this time around,
Root's got it.
It's very different because Root survives the whole time, picks up a triple kill, and he's able to survive there. Not much that Goon can do with Yumi, and the push is on for Jin Air.
They're looking to raise this mid-tier 3 turret right now. They're certainly going to get the inhibitor. I don't know if they're going to push on for more, but Yumi's ultimate's up, so Goon and Yumi trying to hold on. Yeah, I'm not sure why they tried to push. They could have just gone for the Baron rather than the inhibitor, and now Jisoo has teleport, Light has teleport.
Yeah, pings are coming out too. We get a slow onto Root.
Oh, man.
Gonna take a bunch of damage. Grace trying to bait it there. Double TP coming in. Kellen gonna be able to disrupt it for quite a bit, but already at least goes down. It's a huge shock blast onto that back line, and now everybody from Jin Air is gonna get wiped. As down will go the Squishy members, and down will go Linderong. And now it's Team Dynamics that have an opportunity to get something going.
And are they going to try to make the call to end the game? You can see Kellen, he's trying to run over to the minion wave. He's trying to slow it down.
Blast to get in there. Okay, he knows what's up. And honestly, he bought 2-3 seconds to kill him. That can make the difference in winning the game and not. And so they'll just take the safe path and go for that Baron.
So we take a look at how this all This was a while ago. This was the fight that Jin Air actually lost.
They wanted to show the Arcane Comet.
That's pretty unfortunate RNG to be hit by a comet. I don't know what the odds of that are in real life, but
hey, maybe Guga was saving it for
Root
that one
was
moment.
Brought down there. Now, the follow-up team fight was not nearly as good for Team Dynamic.
Just watch Root.
Yeah. Root, there was no real way to hold him down. Rek'Sai tried to go in there, ended up just getting eviscerated. But the inability to kill the LeBlanc meant that she was still alive. They were able to hang on, and so we still have a game on our hands. I still do ask myself the question, though, how do you beat the Lissandra passive in a team fight? It is so scary.
Team Dynamics actually took the gold lead after that fight, too. So definitely a bit of a change up here in this one. Root, he's still unbelievably fed, don't get me wrong, but and we have the Lissandra passive we were talking about. Vlad will only get stronger, whereas stuff like the Jace will get weaker as the game comes along. And with the Baron buff now, you can see Team Dynamics are really trying to make the most of the lead they have now. And at least take out an inhibitor. Linderong going to take a bunch of damage, even has to use Cool to get away from that one. And Jin Air are going to concede the inhibitor here.
We're gonna lose the mid inhibitor, which isn't the end of it's not the end of the world. I just want to point something out. Valdez, are you seeing what I'm seeing?
Marlon Opcom.
No, above it.
Points down.
No, to the right. You see the Oblivion Orb?
Yeah.
With
Leandri's. It happened.
it finally happened. We're coming home.
Finally, we're coming home.
Oh, man.
I also want to draw your attention while we're looking at items at the Medis right now on Yuumi. 18 stacks. We do have a nice ward from Jinair that could get Lissandra behind. That's exactly where they're both going to go, actually. And already Root running forward, and here comes the cavalry coming in from behind, trying to make that space for Root to just auto-in. And the Garen is going to go down to start us off. And you can see that Team Dynamics, they were not ready to handle that. And a couple of teleports are used to make it happen, but only one kill will go the way of Jinair.
And one kill goes their way, and they, interestingly, elect to eat the next Cloud Dragon, which means Elder will be next on the menu. And you can just see there's no answer to Root for this team composition. It is so hard to lock him up and realistically get onto him. He's so tanky with the Scimitar and the Phantom Dancer. He even has Stopwatch as well if you're thinking about getting a little frisky and trying to really go hard at him.
Yeah.
But that's ultimately going to be the problem for Team Dynamics. How do they bring down Root, and how do they do it in a way where Lissandra doesn't get her passive off, because that'll ruin their entire team fight.
Yeah. There are a lot of threats in the lineup. It's not only the super fed Vayne, but the Vladimir. Now on 3 items, we'll be looking at probably Deathcap next. Maybe a Spellbinder if he wants to get something cheaper that will add to his engage ability. Especially now without his teleport, but we'll have to wait and see what exactly he goes for. But, you know, eventually once the items do start piling in, things could get pretty good for Jinair.
Look at how heavy of a commitment Lissandra has with this next fight. Double Stopwatch.
Yeah.
So they're really going to all in on the Baron fight or the Elder fight. So Grace not keen on taking this any further. I don't know what that controller was that Grace threw down.
Yeah. Yuumi is doing some insane damage right now, actually. With all the stacks she has, chunking of Volibear for that amount is pretty intense, although he doesn't have much MR, if any at all.
A lot of damage with this Jace Yuumi. So it's almost reminding me of Ezreal Zoe.
Yeah.
To a certain extent. Linderon trying to heal up here. The level advantage is still present in the 80 carries, as Root is still up 2 levels, although Guger up 2 levels on Kellen.
Yeah. That Yumi's he's a big cat. He's a chunky cat. He has a death cap. A death cap.
Yeah, the cat has a hat. Cat in the hat.
There you go. Cat in the hat.
All right, well, let's see what is going to happen in the next team fight. So Baron is going to be on the table in 20 seconds, Elder in 2 minutes. And if you are Team Dynamics, you want Elder instead of Baron. You want the Elder onto the Yuumi or onto the LeBlanc so that they can get that true damage going onto Jinair and really just take down the team fight like that. Yeah. Baron buff by itself doesn't necessarily mean that you win the team fight, so.
At the end of the day, though, the Baron is already spawned, and we still have a minute 40 until that Elder does spawn. So there is time to pick up both, if you are so lucky. You can see Jinair kind of setting up vision around the objective now. The Team Dynamics really handing it to them in this game, coming back in a big way. Malrong just taking a huge amount of burst. Here's Linderong getting into the backline, flashing in, but just look at Root. Can he do the damage? He has to stopwatch, but it might be enough as already the Guardian Angel is going to go down. Root still autoing, flashing on in.
That's it.
There it is, the Lissandra passives as the champions pop like balloons. And Light and Goog are the only ones left available. Can he do it alone on the Garen? With the friendly cat to help him out, he's at least gonna get the one spider. But that is about it. They tried their best, but in the end of the day, Jin just were too strong as the minutes ticked by. And they are going to go on and win 2-0 up against Team Dynamics. So tomorrow, it is going to be Jin up against APK, and then Hanwha Life up against Team Dynamics. A very interesting couple of games. I like the way it worked out, and Jin once again going to solidify themselves as the kings of the gatekeepers, the kings of the promotion tournament. And just a great game from them. GG, as 2-0 is going to be the score. Everybody gives Root a little pat on the back. Also a shout out to Malrong. His early jungling helps them get ahead and shut down the Garen Yumi before it got too out of hand.
I mean, Jin is now a 100% win rate in their last one series. Think about that stat.
And you talked about the last time that they won a series. It was last promotion tournament.
Buff. You want to talk about the Genji Autumn buff?
Yeah.
No.
No.
Doesn't even hold a candle.
I laugh at you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
To the Jin promotion series buff. Oh man. Well.
Lining up to shake the hands of the guys they just defeated on the Rift. And will go up and take their bow. Not something that Jin does often, so enjoy it while it lasts. Drink it in. They still do have to win a best of 5. That will be tomorrow, the winner's match against APK, who also won today in their best of 3 against Hanwha. And the winner of that series will go into the LCK. So tomorrow it is possible that we have a challenger team go up to the LCK. Yeah. But it's also possible that an LCK could get relegated tomorrow with Hanwha. So just keep that in mind. Tomorrow's going to be a day to watch where we could have some mix-ups for next year's LCK.
Well, I do think that after watching both of these series tonight and casting them with you here, Valdez, that I think Jin will win the winner's match tomorrow pretty easily.
Yeah.
I can't see a world where they would lose. Then again, we did say that we couldn't see a world where Hanwha Life can go undefeated. So
that's the sandbox coach right there. Right below the sign. That's him, right? I'm pretty sure it is.
Valdez, I don't have my contacts in. So
oh, yeah, I forgot. Sorry, lost sight. It's okay.
All right.
Larry and Malrong going to walk off the stage here. Some good games from them. Even Larry had a good game. Linderong, of course. Just on the Vladimir, it didn't look like he did a lot, but he actually, think about the game, how it could have looked different if the Jace and the Rek'Sai were a lot more fed and were able to pick up a bunch more kills.
I'm going to take a look.
What are mad? What are these sound effects? That was so loud. Oh yeah, get some of that Lissandra in there as well.
Alright, that was good. That was good. That was the highlight
that
for
was,
me.
Yeah, that was like the highlight of the day, this moment.
Just turn off the monitor and listen to it. Oh man. Alright, well.
I don't know if it was as loud for you guys as it was for us, but if you witnessed or heard that with us, that was amazing. Right. Yeah, so Jin win with the 2-0 over Team Dynamics. Great play from Root. Kind of, you know, what we were expecting, right, from the bottom lane of Root and Kellen. A very quality bot lane in the LCK in general.
This was the team fight that really just sealed the deal. This was the death certificate that got it all started. Although they did come back to life later in the game.
See,
With
if you
the
just auto the
double
Rek'Sai,
teleport play. Yeah, if you just right-click.
if he just kills the Rek'Sai, he gets a penta. Instead, he just got a lousy Quadra.
Yeah, Quadra, I'm not impressed with Quadras.
Quadras are like the worst thing to
This was
get.
where Grace actually donated himself. It was very surprising. Right there, as Root follows Gangnam up. Gangnam not able to get the knock up there onto Root. As this was the okay. I was trying to see what was that we were going at
It
here.
was the highlight clip of the gold crowd. It's like, yeah, this is the moment that Team Dynamics came back. But, yeah. It wasn't. Bane's pretty good when she goes 7-0-2, 20 minutes into the game.
And this was the play where I said they should have just gotten the inhibitor and backed off immediately. They didn't respect the double teleport, didn't have the timer on Yumi's ultimate,
No.
which was coming up, so there was no way for them to bring down the two turrets. And Dynamic
오케이 이거.
각 나쁘지 않아. 각 나쁘지 않아.
saying it's not bad, it's not bad.
야, 가래.
They're saying Garen.
빠지면서.
렉사이.
어.
앞에 때려봐.
Go forward.
나이스.
뭐가
It's
앞에
like
nice.
박았어.
아 미드 미드.
잡았어.
Push mid.
라인 있어.
Get the line.
나 죽어도 돼. 버려.
Give it up.
게임 안 끝나 이거.
Give him up, throw him out,
끝나
yeah.
이거. 다 봐야 돼.
Yeah, you gotta get him.
끝내줘.
잡고 끝내.
나이스.
아 집중
아,
맞아
다행이다.
Focus.
나이스.
Yeah.
가자.
아 너무 빡세 베인
야 이거 업데기 나오냐 업데기?
업데기 일표 있어 빨리 깨
아 이거는
너-
끝났어.
너못 끝내면 그냥 어?
끝내면 그냥.
끝내면 나 집까지 걸어간다
If you can't end now, you're walking
걸어가면
home.
집까지 걸어간다 야
Some like that, like real home, not home in the game. As take a look at that Yumi damage. She did more than Vayne. That's pretty out of control. That the cat can just build Medjai's in a death cap and do that amount of damage. From the support role, as it was more of a team effort from the side of Jin Air. They pick up the 2-0. It was a couple of longer games. It was like 37 and then 38 minutes. This one a lot closer, though. Team Dynamics showing that they have some fight in them, but still not good enough for Jin Air. Jin Air still proving that they're at least better than the challenger teams. They found a team that they can defeat. That did happen today. Alongside of the first-time Garen pick here in Korea. So
Yeah,
you
Garen
guys
Yumi.
witnessed some history today.
Does seem strong. I want to watch it another couple dozen times.
Yeah?
I gotta really
Sure that's enough? Or
probably 40, like, well, yeah, 36,
700.
48, you know,
Yeah,
somewhere
okay.
between that range.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of the where you go to.
You know.
Yeah.
Well, probably more than that ideally, but
Okay. So that's good.
limited resources exist on it,
Yeah.
which is unfortunate.
Limited sources, aka LS. As well, tomorrow there will be some decisions made, guys. Will Team Dynamics or Team Hanwha Light Esports be going into the Challenger Series? And which team between APK Prince and the Jin Air Green Wings Esports Club is going to be going back to the LCK or in APK's Prince's in their case for the first time into the LCK? And then, of course, that won't be the end of the schedule. On Wednesday, there will be the final match, which will be the two teams that are left over fighting over the last spot of the LCK.
And that'll also be Papa Smithy's final cast.
Yeah, sure. Papa Smithy's final cast here in Korea. I believe he's doing that one with Atlas, so you guys will have a fun time listening to the Aussies bantering, and I think it'll be a great last cast for Papa. You know, it's not like a finals and then you're going out. It's kind of like, well, the finals of the promotion tournament, but still will be good to be watching. I'll be watching from home with you guys, and that's going to do it for today. Thanks, LS, for coming down and watching the games, casting with me. Thank you guys for watching. We love you. Good night.
You take me higher when I feel low. Make my world brighter when I'm alone. I keep on rolling, all with your fuel. You're like my gasoline that makes my dream come true.